body into your chair. And if you're comfortable doing so, close your eyes. And I'd like you to bring to mind someone or something that brings you a deep sense of joy and love. Whenever they come to mind, or whoever or whatever thing it is, they just bring this gratitude and joy and appreciation to you. You're lit up by them. Just thinking about that person or thing or situation or place just brings you great joy, happiness, love, and appreciation. And now I'd like you to take that into your heart as a pink light. Feel that deep joy, love, gratitude, and appreciation just beating in your heart. And it grows with every beat of your heart and every breath you take, expanding out to your entire body, which is now warm and relaxed, feeling deeply contented in this time and place. A sphere of pink light is pulsating from your gratitude, joy, and appreciation of thinking of this person, thing, place, or individual. And now this sphere, pulsating, pink, beautiful, relaxing, warming light around you, cannot help but grow with every beat of your heart, with every breath you take, expanding beyond you, intermingling and co-mingling with everything and everyone around you, filling the entire room we're in. Expanding out from this room to this entire building, creating a beacon of beautiful pink light that is just pulsating gratitude and love and appreciation and joy out into the area. It includes this entire property now. With every beat of your heart, it grows. All of this area of town, all of Madison, Wisconsin, right now, just pulsating in this beautiful pink light stemming from your love, joy, and appreciation. Moving on from Madison, Wisconsin, to include all of the state of Wisconsin, blessing each and every individual, everything and place with love, joy, appreciation, and gratitude. Another breath that fills the entire United States. Another breath. All of North America. Another breath, this half of the planet. Another beat of your heart down through Antarctica, all around the other half of the globe. The entire planet is now pulsating with a beautiful pink light of love, deep appreciation, and joy, stemming from your heart and mind, co-mingling with everything, healing and blessing this planet with love and appreciation, expanding out into the moonal orbit, into our solar system with the next breath, with the next beat of your heart, to the entire Milky Way of galaxy. We are one with all that is, with every beat of our heart. That love and appreciation stemming from our hearts encompasses the entire universe, all of the universes that are. That love and gratitude coats everything with love and appreciation. And I'm going to, in a moment, invite you to draw your attention back in. And when we do, we leave behind that love and appreciation that has exponentially multiplied, stemming from our hearts, covering everything that is, co-mingling, leaving it behind with love and joy back, coming back into our universe, back into our Milky Way galaxy, back into our solar system, back into our orbital moon, back into our planet, healed with your love, appreciation, and gratitude. This beautiful pink flight coming back onto our side of the planet, back into North America, back into the United States, leaving behind our love and joy and appreciation. Scattering it wherever we've been, pulling back in from the United States back into Madison, Wisconsin, back into this area of town, back into this property, knowing that we are always a beacon of love and light to the universe, always interconnected. Whether we feel it or not, we can always come back to this time and place as we pull it back into this building, into this room, into this chair. Always knowing that you bless each and every person in your life with love, deep appreciation, joy, and gratitude. Feel the chair supporting you. Feel your fingers at the end of your hands and arms. Roll your shoulders. Feel your feet in your shoes. Take another deep breath, and when you're ready, open your beautiful eyes. Namaste.
Now let us continue with the New Lord's Prayer.
Good morning, I'm Reverend Marygrace Sorensen. I'm delighted to be back here with you in Madison, Wisconsin, even if but virtually this morning. I last set foot in your church in the mid-90s. Isn't it wonderful to be alive today? Aren't you grateful to be able to breathe and eat and play and laugh and relax and create? Isn't it wonderful to be able to take a walk through the woods or around a lake or through your neighborhood or even the grocery store to see the beauty of a sunrise or a moonrise, to see woods and mountains, lakes, streams, or the ocean? Even the simple beauty of a flower in your yard. Isn't it awesome to be alive today? To go on an outing. Oh wow, that's wonderful these days, isn't it? And eat your favorite dessert. My message today is entitled, Eat Dessert First. God said life is precious and every moment is precious. When we hear the word dessert, something happens in us, doesn't it? We're multi-sensory beings. We probably see our favorite dessert right in front of us, with our forks poised in front of our open mouths. And now you might not just be seeing it, you might be smelling it and feeling its texture. Oh my goodness, by now your salivary glands are going and you probably can even taste it. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a household where dessert was a treat. And it was sometimes thought that the mindset of that children are deprived of dessert as a means of disciplines, and adults have deprived themselves of dessert as a means of weight control. But we know that dessert is something that will make your guests forget about an ill-prepared meal, won't it? They'll remember the dessert. And oftentimes parents think that children will, if left to their own devices, will eat nothing but desserts. However, carefully controlled studies have shown that they'll only do that for a short while, and then they'll return to a balanced diet of fruit, vegetables, grains, and other foods. These attitudes are strange enough about desserts. However, the most strangest one is that unspoken rule that dessert has to be last. Have you ever been given a dessert menu first in a restaurant? I haven't. I conducted a very unscientific study in all the places I've lived and traveled all over the country: Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, Missouri, Georgia, Alabama, New Mexico, all over the country. I've never been handed a dessert menu first, unless I asked for it. Sometimes it's on the table there, but they don't give it to you. It's there. But what's most interesting is that even when all the foods come together in the menu, the desserts are last. Opensky said that the secret of life and of the universe is to think in new directions. So today I'm going to offer you the opportunity to think in a new direction, to think about eating dessert first. Dessert, by definition, is a sweet course at the end of the meal. Well, there comes the end of the meal. But it's also defined as the sweet course. And sweet is defined as something that gives pleasing to the senses. It's pleasure, delight, smooth running, showing kindness or the desire to please. But by whatever definition, when one offers dessert to another or to oneself, the underlying message is that I am created out of God's essence of divine love. So regardless of the appearances or momentary beliefs, I am worthy. I love, honor, and accept myself exactly as I am. I don't have to wait until some point in the future until I'm good enough, honorable enough, kind enough, forgiving enough, whatever enough. I am worthy now. I will be kind to myself. I will do it now. I will eat dessert first. After Jesus came into his full awareness of his Christ consciousness, he found himself confronted by all the temptations that come along in life. And when he came to the temptation of hunger, in the New Life Version of the Holy Bible from Matthew chapter 4, verse 4, Jesus said, "It is written, man is not to live by bread alone, but by every word that God speaks." It's not just that main course, bread alone, that sustains us. It's every word of God, every action of God. And eat means to take into consciousness. So we have to bring into consciousness that pleasing, that idea that we will be kind and compassionate and loving to ourselves. God's message that we are worthy, we are loved, and we are God and love and expression in the world. We take that into our consciousness, which is pleasing to ourselves and others. Or said another way, we're to be compassionate to ourselves. We are to ensure that each moment of our lives is a celebration, a moment to find joy and gratitude, because life is a celebration, not a sentence. There are countless ways any one of us can begin to use the principle of eating dessert first. But I'm going to give you 5 ways of elements that we can consider, and then you can add to that other things that allow you to be present and eat dessert first. The first one is to do something that gives you pleasure each day. I found that during COVID-19 and this pandemic, people are doing things that find pleasure, give them pleasure each day. They're walking more. And time doesn't wait for us, but we've been having the opportunity to stand still and find the pleasure, listen to music, create beauty, find joy in our hearts and in the beauty around us. Take a nap, call a friend you haven't spoken to a while, write a letter, swim, exercise your body, but do it. Do something each day that brings you pleasure. Number 2 is thinking about a good thought about everything you do before you do it. And then what you are doing is a choice, not a sentence. Some folks I know are engaged in jobs that don't bring them a great deal of joy. And oftentimes, there are many reasons why they do that. It's a family business, or they feel like they studied long and hard to do this job and then they didn't like it, or that they need the money and security to pay their mortgage. But remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we are not what we do, but rather we can choose to bless our workplace and those that we work with by seeing ourselves and them and what we do as a wonderful, unique way for love to show up. The Spirit of God goes before me and prepares my way. That's what Jesus said. Think a good thought about everything you do before you do it. So number 1, find something pleasurable to do each day. Number 2, think a good thought about everything you do before you do it. Number 3, don't work at your relationships. Stay in the present moment in them and find the Christ within others. When we start working at a relationship, it's like it's broken. We're trying to repair it. We focus on what's broken. So in order to become in the present moment, we have to find joy and behold the Christ in others. And think about it, when you're serving dessert in a friend's home, or even if you serve it to yourself, you savor it. You don't think, oh, I got vanilla and not chocolate, or I got cherry pie instead of coconut cream, my favorite. You simply enjoy and savor the pleasure in that moment. In all of our moments, to eat dessert first means we're to stay in the present moment and to simply enjoy that individual and the gifts that they bring into our lives. In the present moment, there's no past, there's no future. All we can do is enjoy and savor this now moment. So don't work at relationships. Be present in the present moment in them and find the Christ within others. So number 1, find something pleasurable to do each day. Number 2, think a good thought about everything you do before you do it. And number 3, savor the present moment in all your relationships and look for the Christ in others. And number 4 is kind of different. It's to take out of every paycheck that you receive, so just as we tithe, to set something of your side aside for yourself as an allowance. An allowance is defined as money paid to people with certain responsibilities. Well, our responsibility is to be God's representative, to represent and be the Christ in expression in this world, to be the channel for where substance or energy in the universe flows into invisibility through us. And when we acknowledge our worth and the contributions we're making to life by giving ourselves an allowance, we're acknowledging our worth and contributions. And then we don't overspend or create debt, which is negative attention. So give yourself an allowance about all money that comes to you. Number 1, do something pleasurable every day. Number 2, think a good thought about everything you do before you do it. Number 3, stay present moment in your relationships. Don't work at them. Acknowledge the Christ with others. And number 4, take an allowance out of any money that comes to you. And number 5, by celebrating the life that expresses as and through our bodies, life celebrates its opportunity to express through most of us, in spite of any appearances otherwise, that we need to be healed. We are whole. To eat dessert first at all times and all circumstances in our body means to love ourselves. Louise Hay said that love is a miracle cure and that loving ourselves works miracles in our lives and in our bodies. And by loving ourselves is having a greater respect for ourselves and gratitude for the miracle of our bodies and our minds. She advocates looking into the mirror and saying, I love myself. She even has a song that begins as, I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I love myself. I encourage you to do that. Bernie Siegel said, your body gets live messages when I say, I love myself. And when we do that, our immune system is boosted. And it's almost like taking vitamin C. It says, this person likes living. Let's fight for it. Let's keep it healthy and strong. Let's fight for their life. So celebrate life in our body by loving it. I'm telling you, you love it. Do something each day that brings you pleasure. Think a good thought about everything you do before you do it. Don't work at relationships. Stay present in the present moment with Him and acknowledge the Christ within others. Give yourself an allowance out of all money that comes to you and celebrate the life in your body by loving it and telling it that you love it. Allow me to share a story from Dr. Charles R. Manselli. Dr. Manselli was a hospice social worker who learned many lessons from those who were making their transitions, lessons that served to rearrange his personal priorities in life. His most important lesson came along when he was a brand new hospice worker. Charles was making his rounds in an inpatient hospice unit when the supervising nurse stopped him and asked him if he would mind visiting Joe. Joe's regular social worker wasn't unavailable, and his death was imminent. It was coming, and they could tell, and she wasn't available, and would you please visit him? He's desolate and alone. And so Charles asked the nurse for some background about Joe, and she talked to him about him a little bit and said that he was a musician. And when he got to that part, Charles said, "I've got this." And he went in and introduced himself to Joe and said, in very short order, "I'm Dr. Manselli, and I understand you're a musician." And Joe's eyes lit up, and then Joe added, "I'm a musician too." And that opened the door. Joe started talking about, Charles asked him what kind of instrument he played, and Joe went into a diatribe for about 30 minutes talking about music and the bands and the guitar he played and the bands he played with and all the favorite songs. And he went smiling and laughing, and Charles listened intently and asked numerous questions. And when Joe finally stopped talking, he remained silent for about 3 seconds and just looked at him. Said, "Thank you for making an old, dying man happy." And then came the lesson, the precious pearl. He says, "Let me do something for you. Don't do what I did. I was so busy working, mowing the lawn, taking care of the car, playing with my band, and doing other things that I neglected my family. I missed my daughter growing up, the wife he lost, people he angered, and lifestyle choices he made." The message is clear, and we've all heard it before. Life is short. Life is precious. Prioritize accordingly and eat dessert first. Every now and then, I think about this story of Dr. Manselli and Joe, and that advice that he was given. Life is precious, and rather than allow the sands of time to slip through our fingers, we need to be present and seize the moment. Carpe diem, seize the day, eat dessert first. Ziad K. Abdelnour said, "Life is a camera. Focus on what's important. Capture the good times, and if things don't work out, just take another shot." According to the wanderlust worker, we can all have difficulties enjoying life and finding what we have in the present moment enjoyable. But we can find ourselves longing for other things, complaining, focusing on the past, being stuck in the ickiness of our thoughts. And oftentimes it takes a major calamity or major pain and strife to realize the fragility of life. And just how precious we all are in the eyes of God and those near and dear to us. It shouldn't take massive amounts of pain to have our eyes open to the beauty and pleasing things around us, to see the miracles that are happening all the time, the sun glinting off the trees, the children walking through the park. The simple fact will always remain that no matter what happens in life, life will always be precious. No matter what our present situations may be, no matter how many problems might exist, this too shall pass. The present moment is all we have, so let's enjoy it, be in gratitude for it, find joy in it. To eat dessert first is to acknowledge that God already loves us exactly who we are, which means right now is the time to celebrate. It means that right now we get to choose to act, to choose and experience joys. For the only joy we can experience is in this present moment. We can remember the past and think about the joy we had in it and find present moment in remembering it. But that present joy is right now. And we might think of something that we're going to do in the future, and that might bring us joy. But we can worry about the past, or we can't do anything about it. We can worry about what's going to happen in the future. But it's so much better to just savor the joy in the moment and eat dessert first. It took Nadine Stair of Louisiana, Kentucky, some 80-odd years to discover that life is a precious gift. She wrote a poem, If I Had My Life to Live Over Again. If I had my life to live over. And she said this, I'd like to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax, I would limber up. I would be sillier than I've been on this trip. I would take fewer things seriously. I would take more chances. I would climb more mountains and swim in more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles and fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who live sensibly and sanely, hour by hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I have nothing but moments, one moment after another after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those persons who never goes anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water bottle, a raincoat, and a parachute. If I had to do it over again, I'd live lighter than I have. If I had my life to live over, she says, I would start barefoot earlier in the spring and remain that way later into the fall. I would go to more dances, I would ride more merry-go-rounds, and I would pick more daisies. And if I were to end it, I would say, and I'd pick more daisies and eat dessert first. So seize the day. Be present in each moment. Think a good thought. Find something present that gives you pleasure to do each day. Think a good thought about everything you do before you do it. Don't work at your relationships. Be present in them. Look for the good and the Christ in others and acknowledge it. Give yourself an allowance of all the money that comes to you. And number 5, celebrate the life in your body by knowing that you are loved and lovable. Look in the mirror and say, I love myself just as I am. In retrospect, my message should have been entitled, Life is Precious. Eat dessert first. Life is precious. We are precious. Those around us are precious. So let's join together and relish and savor each moment and eat dessert first. Namaste.
Thank you. And now is our time for offertory. So please take your tithes, offerings in your hands, place them over your heart. Or if you're virtual, you can do the same thing and press the donate button sometime after this. And let us affirm together our offertory blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And for those of you that are here, we have the offertory basket over at the exit, because we're not walking around handing out the baskets due to social distancing, so please place anything there or prayer request in there also as you leave. Okay. And now our offertory song, I Am So Blessed.